Hey everyone, welcome to Meeple Bits. Thanks for joining me for this rant about GenCon housing. I wanted to take a moment to kind of, get this off of my chest and complain just a little bit about how GenCon and the housing lottery and the whole process works, goes down, and how frustrating it is. So we've just passed another badge round where they went up for sale, and then I think it was about 1 month later the housing lottery emails were sent out on the Saturday night, and then that next day on Sunday you logged in at your time slot and hoped to get a room. So this year I was not so lucky. My time slot was 4:30 something, it doesn't really matter, because the rooms were sold out by 3 o'clock. So essentially, if you didn't have a time slot between noon when it started and 3 o'clock when I guess the last bit of inventory was taken, well, the rest of us that had, queues for that lottery, it didn't matter. The rooms were already gone. So we're left to kind of figure it out for ourselves, fend for ourselves, so to speak, go to aftermarket Airbnbs, whatever. But let me take a step back and kind of, see how we got here and what's the problem with the current process. So when I first started going to Gen Con, I think it was Gen Con 50. So, however many years ago that was. That was my very first Gen Con. I'd always read about it. I'd always thought it'd be pretty neat to go. And finally, Gen Con 50 happened to fall over the weekend of my birthday. So I was like, yes, I'm going to go year one. Really enjoyed it. How that worked, though, was everything was on a first come, first serve basis. You just logged in and grabbed a room whenever you could. I understand that this is not the most optimal way because their system, I think the following year started crashing, and then people weren't able to log in and get rooms for the housing block, things like that. So a free for all is not what I'm suggesting. So the lottery system is fine. It works. It could be better, namely in the sense that they're in the location where it's held in Indianapolis, there is so little inventory available. By inventory, I mean hotel rooms, and I'm not talking just connected hotels. I'm talking just in the downtown region. So once downtown is gone, and I think this year, 2025, downtown connected rooms were gone in like the first 30 minutes. Downtown was gone, I think, in the first hour. So if you didn't have a noon time slot, you were then stuck with going out into the airport and outer suburb regions where you either have to have a vehicle to drive in and figure out parking, or take Ubers, which oftentimes are going to be a minimum of $20 each way. So it really racks on the costs. Now, what I'm about to propose is not out of the realm of possibility to start with, especially since Gen Con in Indianapolis have a contract signed until 2030. So, got to deal with this for at least 5 more years. So, the ticket prices have also been going up. Now, are they paying people more? I don't really know the behind the scenes of what what portion of your ticket cost or your badge cost is going towards what. So I can't pretend to know the ins and outs about why the costs have gone up without the experience really being any better. But I'm hoping that they can allocate some funds to at least get this housing situation a little bit better for the time that it's going to be in Indianapolis. Namely, when you're booking your badge, you should have to declare if you are going to need a room or if you're going to need to be in that housing block. Because a lot of times people will book their badge but have no need for that housing block. They're maybe locals, or they've already got accommodations or what have you. But I've seen on Reddit all too often that a lot of people are saying, yeah, I don't need the housing, but I automatically am put into this lottery. So these individuals could be getting priority slots and they never even need it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, if they never log in to take it, then that's one room that's going to be available anyway. But my point being is that that time slot could have otherwise gone to someone, maybe like myself, who had a 4:30 time slot, who would have used it. So the problem there is that you should, again, if you don't need a room, declare that. If you need to be in that housing lottery, declare it. This simple system change, that way it kind of tags and allocates to your badge when you buy it, will go a long way to at least allocate the lottery slots to those who have a need for them. Then we kind of step into the realm of Indianapolis. So now what I want to kind of bitch about is it's grown too much for Indianapolis. So a couple of things need to give. Because your downtown core can no longer support the size of the conventions that you hold, well, the city is, I think, trying to build more hotel inventory, which will help. So that's at least a step in the right direction, but that's still years off. And so every year more and more people seem to be going, and I think we're topping out at 75, 80,000 attendees year in year out now, and the hotel inventory doesn't support that size of convention. So the event has outgrown Indianapolis. So where are some other destinations that would make sense? Well, the top of mind is obviously Vegas because they have infinite inventory, seemingly. Um, and then the other selection, what I'd say, would be Orlando. They have the second most hotel availability in the nation. Now, these are regions far removed from its current location. So let me address the cons of this. The first con of that is that people that drive in from the local kind of Midwestern region, maybe even some of the surrounding regions a little bit further than that, would no longer really have that driving opportunity, or they would have to drive a little bit further. So people say, oh, well, Gen Con won't be the same because, you're going to lose so much fan base of people being able to go. To that, I would counter, well, think of all the people in the say let's take Orlando, because I think that actually is a better option than Las Vegas. Las Vegas just has way too much other stuff going on. Where let's take Orlando, where then you now have a whole new crop of individuals who can drive or commute or come into the area. So it's not as though you're going to lose people. You're just potentially going to have maybe a different allocation of people from different areas. So I fly into Indianapolis every year to go to Gen Con, and many others do as well, because guess what? The plane is always full when I'm going in, and I always see the airport also full. So the fact that it would change the way that Gen Con happens, or the feel of it, or the type of patrons that go there, again, no, I would just say that it's going to be a little bit different is all. And then people that still want to go from the regions that used to drive in, well, you can just fly in like others fly into Indianapolis today. So another kind of con about moving it is people say that it would lose its identity, because the destination of Indianapolis is, pretty small and intimate, and then everything is kind of huddled in together, and it has this real good feel to it, to which, yes, I absolutely agree. So to that, I would counter that if it were, say, to be moved to somewhere like in Orlando, you would definitely lose a bit of that, because the convention center is not downtown. So it's a bit removed, more in the kind of theme park attraction area. But what you gain is there is more connected hotel inventory in the destination of Orlando than there is in all of Indianapolis. So the 70,000 patrons could all select a connected hotel right to the convention center. It's actually a bigger convention center, so you could even space things out a little bit better, because man, these days people are on top of one another, and not everyone knows how to shower. So that's just another kind of gripe. And then you've got still a lot of local things to do in and around the convention center, so that there's always going to be places to either game or enjoy other things that you would want to do in a destination. But let me reel this back in, because my vote again is that Gen Con, if they don't want to move the destination, then they need to do what they did during, I think it was the year of Corona. They capped attendance. I think they capped it at somewhere around 30 odd thousand, maybe 35,000 or something like that. look, I know that you would lose money, or the vendors may not want to show up as often because now they're not able to sell to as many people, and that has its own drawbacks or negatives. But you're going to get a better overall experience because now everyone has an opportunity to book and be near the convention center. They can walk to the destination. They can still be in that core without incurring so many additional costs of being pushed out of the downtown region. So option one, when your contract expires, Gen Con, you got to move it somewhere else. My vote would be Orlando. Or option two, you need to put a cap on it. You got to sell out those badges a lot sooner so that you can kind of wrangle things in and understand that your destination doesn't fully support the popularity of the event. And yes, it's unfortunate that everyone wouldn't be able to attend in those instances, but the people that do attend overall will have a much better quality of life, much better quality of experience, and overall make the convention quite a bit better. In fact, as I kind of end this rant, if I recall, during that Rona year, a lot of people on Reddit kind of praised how free the aisles were to be able to move and navigate, and that was good. There was still a good amount of people to be able to play and enjoy it and get games in with, but then you weren't always on top of one another. So everyone seemed to, by and large, appreciate the experience of a capped Gen Con. But I'm going to end it here, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you think Gen Con has definitely outgrown the destination of Indianapolis, or if you've got some other suggestions or insights to this really bad housing situation where it's challenging for everyone that wants to go to have accommodations. So until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching.